What's going on, guys? How you guys doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
Just
All right.
surviving another week and trying not to steal all my kids' Halloween candy.
Oh man, what a week it was too. I mean, where do we start, guys? Let's talk with the disappointment of the Edmonton Oilers or the Toronto Blue Jays blowing it in the last inning.
I think we should start with the Blue Jays and then focus specifically on the Oilers the rest of the way.
Can we take any more heartache though? Like as Oiler fans, like you cheer for this team in Toronto, or the only team you cheer for in Toronto, and then they do that. Damn.
I think we should have known that a Toronto team in Game 7 was due for some heartbreak. It's kind of their MO.
Oh, that was hard to watch, man. It was like reliving the Game 7 of Stanley Cup 2 years ago. You know, it was just
Big
hard.
difference was they actually had a lead with 2 outs to go.
I
You know,
You know who didn't have a lead, though, was Kiner Falefa. He took no
yeah.
lead.
I mean,
What? Bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, 1 out. You should be basically halfway home.
I know. Sack
Honestly.
fly or even bunt the damn thing. Just get the guy home.
My assumption here is he's a pinch runner, so they pinch ran for Bo, right? My assumption here is that he's relatively fast, right? I mean, Brendan, we offline we went through that whole like how far should he be off thing, and I don't know if you want to go into that, but I mean that makes a ton of sense, right?
I saw somebody pick up this wild stat that I hadn't seen until this morning, but Varsho has taken thousands of at-bats in the major leagues, and out of the 1,650 hits he's ever made, he has lined a total of 1 to third base. 1 out of 1,600 career hits. So the chances of getting a double play at third base on a line drive is basically less than 0.
With a left-handed batter, especially Varsho.
Yeah, and once he's playing 10 feet off the bag, which is fine. So that means that Kiner Falefa should, by default, start 9 feet away from third base before the windup. Then the pitch, and he gets another 3 feet or 4 feet as a secondary lead. That's your play. And if that's still not enough, imagine how epic it would have been to run in and dive headfirst at home plate in slow motion at the bottom of the ninth in Game 7 to win the World Series. But no, he's got his oven mitt running glove like they all do, like waving up in the air like this. You can see, like, no, just reach out and touch home plate. That's all he had to do.
Oh, man, it hurts, doesn't it? It hurts. And then I heard the commentators there saying, "Oh, please, Kirk, don't hit a ground ball, whatever you do." Sure enough, he hits the ground right to the second, and the double play was like, oh man, that was brutal.
Yeah, I mean, if you hit a long pop up and you get thrown out at home by some miracle or something, great. Okay, we got another.
Yeah, at least you got the.
You're talking about the bottom of the 11th when.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should not be swinging the ball or swinging the bat above the plane of your kneecaps at that point. Like everything's got to be a golf swing. You got to be leaning 3 or 4 feet back in your stance because you cannot hit a ground ball under any circumstance.
Was that second and first and third, or was it
first and third with 1 out?
Yeah.
Oh.
You can't be over the ball. Everything has to be under the ball.
The play that you were talking about, in the bottom of the ninth, right before that they walked Kirk, right?
No, he got hit.
He got hit in the forearm.
He got walked.
Oh.
Yeah,
he got hit on the inside.
That's right.
You got hit.
Bases loaded.
Yeah, that I mean I was just saying that might not necessarily be the best outcome because then the double plays in effect, right? But I guess you still, if it was second and third, or would it have? No, at that point in time it would have been first and third, would it not have?
In the 11th inning, it was first.
No, in the ninth inning. Ninth
inning, it was bases loaded with 1 out.
No, but it became bases loaded because Kirk got hit. Right?
Yeah.
So, did Burke get walked or Burke get hit? Whatever it was. So was that second and third, or was that first and third?
Can't remember. I think it was second and third.
So where I'm going with this is if Kirk did not get put on base, with the bases not being loaded, that's not a force at third, right? He'd have to have tagged him. He would have been safe. So that ended up coming to bite us in the ass, essentially, right? Because you would have to tag him instead of a force at home.
Yeah, I see your point there.
Yeah. But in all of this, we're talking about how, I mean, everybody's talking about how unlucky the Toronto Jays were. How lucky were the freaking Dodgers? Holy cow, man! Like, I mean, even that one time when it seemed like the Jays won the World Series with the catcher's foot coming off the base, but he
That's what we're talking.
miraculously, yeah, he puts it back down. Like, I think they went through that replay really fast. That should have been looked at a little bit closer. I think it was still off when the guy caught the ball.
What I was saying, but Brendan found a few shots that, I mean, he barely got his foot back, and it looked like he was out on those frames.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's exactly what we're talking about right now, right?
Mm.
If the lead is longer, and if he goes in head first, he probably makes it in there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's game of inches. I mean, I was watching the replay of the Oilers Hawks broadcast, and Jack Michaels, he basically was like, and the Jays have won the World Series. And I remember I was in the dressing room actually getting ready for one of our games and watching it on my phone, and I was like, oh my God, they won. Yeah, that was short-lived.
But you're right about the Dodgers being lucky. They came into Game 7. They did not get a great performance from Ohtani, right? They were chasing the game from the third inning onwards, and they found themselves down 4-2 pretty late. And they got a solo home run. They didn't have anything going, and they just jacked up a solo home run to make it 4-3. Then you get to the top of the ninth, and you absolutely need to score a run, and you have one out. Like, you're getting down to your last moments here.
And they've got their nine hitter, right?
And they have their number 9 hitter in there, Rojas. And they hung a slider in the upper part of the zone that he laid off when it was a 2-2 pitch. And he got the called ball. And I think it was probably the right call, but he left that right in the hands of the umpire to make that third strike call. Could have got it. They very easily could have called that a strike. So now we're sitting on a full count, and then he jacks one over the wall. So suddenly you're now in this unbelievable 4-4 situation. I think if you look at the manager of the Dodgers, he couldn't believe it. He had his reaction, hands on his head, like, I can't believe that actually worked. He has no clue how that played out. Of course, they got to go through the bottom of the ninth, and then it's disaster after disaster for the Jays once they get their players on base. So they've set up everything perfectly, and then the bunt was good. So you got players all around the horn, bases loaded. And we talked at length about the Varsho hit and play at the plate, but there was still another out.
Yeah, they still had another chance.
Guess what happened? One of the greatest postseason hitters of all time, apparently, cranks one into the gap in left field. Now that's Hernandez's ball to go chase down. But he's really struggling to find it. He's not getting to that ball. And then suddenly Pages, who's been playing baseball in center field for about 38 seconds at that point, because he's
they just brought him in.
Positional sub. Again, genius manager move. Crashes into him. And it looks like some sort of scene out of like Cleveland Indians, Angels in the outfield, Bad News Bears kind of situation. And somehow he holds on to the ball, which is, I don't know how he holds on to that ball. If you watch players in the outfield crash into each other in major league games, like 9 out of 10 times that ball's landing on the
I don't think he could believe it because he left his buddy just laying there.
Hernandez was praying that the world hadn't just ended, right? Because he just realized he crashed into his center fielder on the game-winning run of the World Series. There's no way that guy held onto the ball. And he's just listening to the crowd. He's like, wait a second. The crowd should be going crazy. Why isn't the crowd going crazy? Do I have the ball? Did I catch it? No. Maybe the other guy caught it. What's going on? Is it stuck under
Look at his glove.
I don't know. Is it stuck under the fence again? Where is the ball? And the fact that Pages had it was unbelievable. So you knew that the Jays were screwed at that point. Like, yeah, they had extra innings to go, but you knew at that point it wasn't going to work out.
Just whatever could go wrong did go wrong, essentially. And I mean, back that up a little bit. Bichette gets on board, right? And they lift him for a pinch runner. I mean, we're all, probably second guessing that. I was second guessing that. Would you have lifted him just because of the fact that it's a tie game and you could use that bat, right? He was on fire pretty much all game. I understand he wasn't running well, but would you have made that call again? If you had to do it over, would you do it again?
If I'm coaching, I go for the win, but that means I probably sub Bichette out for a fast runner. But then that fast runner is going to be aggressive. There's no point subbing out Bichette for a faster runner
And
than
have
play.
a conservative, exactly, and that's my point, right? You're subbing Bichette out for a runner who's playing it safe.
Yeah, bad coaching decisions. I'm sure
Yeah,
it's not about that for a long time. I'm sure he'll think that he was right, but pretty easy to second guess that guy given what the outcomes of those decisions were.
ultimately probably the most entertaining postseason series I have ever watched. Like I bar none. I mean, I watched baseball in the offs, like in the postseason, but I can't remember it being that exciting. If you guys have one, in spite of the terrible outcome, I thought it was freaking amazing.
Cleveland versus Chicago Cubs was pretty good about 10 years ago. But only because Chicago is never going to ever win. They somehow did. But they had extra innings in Game 7 as well to win that one, right? So
that I mean, there's so many things like pulling Scherzer when they pulled Scherzer, Sir Anthony Dominguez again, even Trey Savage, right? He barely got out of the eighth. I think it was the eighth he got out of barely, and they bring him back in the ninth, and that's the home run that he gave up, right?
I think so, but I don't know where the turning point was for all you guys. We were talking about all these different touching points. For me, honestly, was Game 1 in LA when it went on to the extra innings and they had to bring in Little. I knew at that point it was over. I literally walked away. I was like, it's done. I mean, the guy has been so brutal for so, like, I mean, not that he's a bad pitcher, but just you could look at his face and I knew this guy doesn't even have the confidence. He didn't want to go out for that second.
He started, I said the exact same thing as you did, but he started off great. His breaking ball looked amazing.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of fell off, right?
Yeah, it fell off fast. And they put the camera on him in the dugout after the first inning he went in there. He was just sitting there and he was just like, what the F am I doing here? I don't want to go back out there is the look on his face. Sure enough.
How many times in that game, though, did they come back? I thought they were going to win that game, mainly because they had bases loaded, warning track, or like at the fence catch, right? And I'm like, okay, they got out of this. But again, they pulled Bichette in that game as well, right? The bats, and then, IKF not really coming through, right? And then I think Vladdy had a pretty strong game that game too, but then it's easy to pitch around him, right?
Just think about the base. Like the base running is on the coaches, and the turn didn't happen in Game 7. Like that wasn't the turning point. The turn happened way before that. I think the turn probably happened when Bichette got tagged out. What was it, Game 4, Game 5, standing there on the base pass between first and second? You could just see these unforced errors that were happening days.
Springer did the same thing.
Springer did the same thing. We had the ball under the fence that, anyway, there's just all kinds of just really weird base running.
All these flukes, like the ball getting stuck under the fence. No, I couldn't believe that. And the guy doesn't play it. I watched the coach after the game going, they asked him about that play, what a great play it was. He was pissed. He's like, no, you play that ball.
You can't.
You should be playing. But you should be going. You should be making an attempt and not relying on the umpire to bail you out there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's say the call goes the other way. 2-run score. It's game over, right? Game over. Inside the park home run. You got it wrong. Your team just lost the World Series. But he gets that. Sometimes we could probably transition now to the Oilers. But this is something that I've always thought about with watching Stuart Skinner complain about goaltender interference calls. Like he's like that fielder who just like hopes the referee bails him out.
He's got his hand up instead of focusing on the puck, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you guys pin what's happening so far this season on Skinner? I'm sorry. I don't want to be the guy who keeps on banging on the same drum as a lot of the negative fans, but it's hard to look away from what Bouchard's doing, man. I mean, come on. I know it's early in the season and you got to get going, but
it's not early in the season anymore. We're 15 in, right?
Yeah, we're 15 in, and the way it's not the first time. What he did last night was like everybody's talking about him backing away from the puck as it was being shot at the net. I've seen him do that multiple times, but not just him. It seems to be a collective thing. I think in the previous pod we were talking about Kulak doing that. He was on the ice with Emerson, and they both backed off, leaving 2 players in front of Skinner. Neither one of them touched it, and then Kulak tipped the puck on the way in for good measure. what's happening? I know it's a new defensive coach, but this guy has got to, like, come on, you got to clear the front of that. That's like NHL hockey 101, right?
It feels
I
like
didn't really-
there's three parts of the team, right? There's the goaltending, the defense, and the forwards, and they haven't got three of them going at the same time for sure. Maybe like for a couple of periods at best. And a lot of games they've won because they've had two of those three elements going. But on the road, all their losses, it seems like they'll get one out of those three elements. You'll get a good goaltending performance, and the defense forwards are letting you down, or you get some timely scoring from the star players, maybe a depth goal, but then the defense and the goaltending just have a bad game. You just can't get two out of three of those elements put together on the road to get the points on the road. Their home team's fine for whatever reason, but it's been a nightmare trying to get points on the road so far for this team.
Well, they were up last night again, right? And they were talking about how many times they've blown a lead, and it's becoming a habit. And the frustration is not just with the fans. I mean, you can see it with McDavid and Draisaitl and even the players, but blowing leads like that, 2 goals up, and the way they let those guys waltz back in was like they kind of, like, when they get the lead, they quit. It's like game over, and that's the way they play, So I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I mean, for a veteran team to be up and to lose, well, first of all, we're sitting back. It looks like St. Louis didn't really have a whole lot in that third period. I thought overall they played pretty decent in that third, shutting things down.
Yeah.
But then it's like rookie mistakes. And when you have a team full of veterans that have been to the Stanley Cup finals 2 years in a row, that have had, a 5-year run where, the goal is Stanley Cup or bust, leadership's gotta come in here somewhere, right? And it's not like the Isaac Howards and the Matthew Savoys and the Tyler Embersons that are making these errors, right? It's the nurses, it's the Bouchards, it's the Draisaitl's. And I mean, last night, there's a fine line, and there's all teams make errors. Errors are usually erased by strong goaltending. When you notice a turnover, you're not really going to notice that turnover if the goaltender makes a save. But last night, I mean, that whole play, at least I think Ekholm and Bouchard were on at the same time, right? At least Ekholm was around a player. He was sort of around his guy. The first shot, I think, I was it Ekholm that screened Calvin there? I think it might have been. But like the reason the save is made in that manner is because Picard couldn't pick up the puck, right? So he makes this kind of weird save. The rebound bounces out. Ekholm's kind of got a guy. Bouchard turns around, doesn't have his guy. But even before the puck's there, Bouchard's like going away from his guy. Like, where's he going? I don't understand that part of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, Leon as well was ridiculous last night with his turnovers, and I don't know what he was doing, but
all right. So I got my Tim Hortons cup here, right? I think one of the Tim Hortons Tim Bits Minis coaches can be spared to help Evan Bouchard learn the basics of what you do in front of the net, because most Canadian kids learn this at age 5, right?
Yeah.
You use your body to put yourself between the other guy and the puck, especially when there's a save made. Your job is to box out. I played some basketball, not at a high level, but that's what you learn when you're playing basic basketball too. The shot goes up, you got to box out the guy. You put yourself between the other guy and the rim. Like, you just don't let them get to it. That's basic.
Even just tying up his stick. Even if you're not boxing him out, you don't have proper form, whatever. You can get a stick on the guy's stick, right? You're not. I mean, you're not moving away from the guy.
Do something in front of the net, clear out the other guy. I mean, we're talking an NHL player, and supposedly an elite NHL defenseman in Bouchard. This is stuff at this point you haven't learned it, and you're playing in NHL. You're not going to learn it now. And this is what the Edmonton Oilers have to kind of like, what do? We can't teach physicality. We can't teach this guy a sense of what to do when he doesn't have the puck. He's great when he has the puck. He knows how to move it out. But when he doesn't, it's like he needs somebody. Maybe you can put a microphone in his ear and say, "Hey, Bush, move up."
I disagree with you. I 100% think that you can teach somebody how to do this. You're not asking him to go out and throw his weight around. What you're asking him to do, he's what, 6'2"? You're asking him to play fundamental defense. That's
Yeah.
what you're asking him to
I,
do.
I know you can teach this to somebody. What I'm saying is he's at the NHL. He's a vet now, and he's doing the same stuff he's done every freaking year he's been in the league. I mean, this is not new.
I don't think I don't think he's been this bad. I mean, I've seen him block
Yeah.
players out. He's got a good stick. Just I mean, I'm not prepared to, like, throw the baby out with the bathwater here. I'm not going to write him off. I just think that right now he's having a tough stretch. And I mean, this is what happens in Edmonton, right? There's two things. Jason Strudwick last night was saying that whenever the team struggles, every fan out there is, looking for a new coach. And then there's also another guarantee, which is a whipping boy, right? They've eased off on Nurse a little bit, and it looks like it's Bouchard again, right? I'm not saying that.
In all fairness, Nurse has changed. I mean, at least last year, we tried hard to criticize him, and I think we're fair. And this is unfiltered fan opinion, right? But I think Nurse did pick up his game a little bit. He started
right up
playing
until when it mattered in the playoffs, for sure he did.
Yeah.
But that's the argument here, is Bouchard has elevated his play as the season has gone on, and he's done that now at least 3 years running, right?
Yeah.
There are many ancient cultures that believe that you could put the sins of the community onto an animal and sacrifice them to save the community. That's where you get the concept of the sacrificial lamb, right? Or the sacrificial goat. Well, I think Edmonton as a sports community kind of does the same thing. You're right. Like, we're always gonna look to blame somebody if we don't get our hit of endorphins because the Oilers didn't win, right? That's what we do as fans. We need that hit. We're not getting it. I would have accepted Bouchard tackling a guy in the last minute and getting a penalty, and then you put it on the killers to stop the power play because you were maybe out of position or you reacted late, but you at least got the guy. You have to do that. Like, it's not so much being disappointed the goal went in, it's being disappointed in that there was no attempt made, right? It's like when Ekholm got walked a couple of weeks ago by Sherwood against Vancouver.
Yeah.
Where's the attempt?
Yeah.
Like, I can understand making a bad play. I can understand getting beat, but he wasn't even in position to get beat.
Yeah.
He should probably have been a half step away. It's like, oh shit, I'm way out of position. This guy's going to have a shot at a rebound. I need to grab his stick. I need to grab his arm. I can't get this guy, give him any chance of getting his stick on this puck. Yeah, I'll get a penalty. But that's where most defensemen's brains go in that situation. Like, if I can't get there, I'm going to take a penalty. It's a good penalty to take with a minute left in the game.
Yeah.
And you probably get through 60 seconds, and then you get your point in overtime, whether you win or not. Like, just play the situation, right?
That's what I was going to say. Most fans are forgiving of defenders taking a penalty that could potentially save a goal. And I think most fans appreciate physical play. If you're going after the other team's top players or their players in front of net and you're in their face and you're pushing them out. I mean, my favorite defender of all time, where are they? We're like, where's the Chris Pronger now? We need a player like that. Nobody even dared because they're afraid of going in that area, You know
what? I've heard this a few times now. We've heard some ex-NHLers say this. Like it or not, the last few years that this team has been where they've been, on a random Monday night in St. Louis, their head's probably not there, right? They're not focused on the details, not focused on the fundamentals. Like it or not, that's where we're at right now. My whole issue with that is when we try to turn it off and turn it on, we can turn it on, but then when it matters the most, i.e. the Stanley Cup final, we're not able to execute. It's not. So I feel like there's two sides to that. If it's me, I'm probably laser focused after going through two of those losses like that, and I'm not letting this kind of easy stuff happen, right? So I can see both sides of the coin. I just don't know. I mean, last night was unacceptable. The question I have, guys, is a couple of nights ago, I think it was in Chicago, Nurse made a couple of bad plays, right? I don't think he saw the ice for 7 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Bouchard made some pretty horrible plays too, but he's out there in overtime. Bouchard's still playing penalty kill. He's still playing the power play.
He doesn't get punished at all. He doesn't get any.
I think Isaac Howard was benched last game as well because he took a penalty. I don't think he saw the ice after that, right?
Yep.
So are we going to see Ty Emberson run the power play or Jake Wallman run the power play tonight? What do you
No.
guys think?
No.
I have a hard time seeing that.
I just want to add this point to this. I mean, we just made a comment about Skinner earlier raising his hand because he was run over, whatever happened to him. And he is getting players going directly. The team collectively sending this message out, and Bouchard is the main culprit here, that you have an open lane to go to the goal. I just mentioned Pronger. Players in his generation playing against him were afraid of going to the center of the ice, like guys like there's lots of guys that played that way. They're very physical. But right now, the book in the league is out where you could go to the front of the net with the Edmonton Oilers, or you could run their goalie because there's no consequence. There's not a single defender, I mean, except for Nurse maybe occasionally, but none of the other defenders would do anything. And who are you going to punish? You're going to punish just Bouchard? I think this is a message that needs to get out to the entire defensive core. Like, you guys cannot have people just running your goalie, going to the front of the net and parking themselves there. You can't do that against some of the teams around the league. Why is it so easy against the Edmonton Oilers? I don't get it.
Aleem and I were having a conversation offline the other day about lawsuits and how some people are very litigious and they have to defend themselves all the time, no matter what, even if it's the slightest grievance. And large corporations are often this way. They'll defend themselves very vigorously in court, even if they know they're probably not going to win, or even if they have a very weak case, because they have to be seen by the wider community that they're always going to fight. It's never going to be an easy path to victory. You're going to have to really expend yourself to take them on. And there's a signaling value that comes from that. The Oilers, as to your point, are not signaling that they're going to be tough when in front of the net. They're signaling that, hey, we're going to let you shoot from the outside. We're going to let you take some deflections in front. We're probably going to let you have some rebounds, and we'll do our best to score at the other end when we get our turn. And that's not a way to win hockey games. It's really kind of, you're right, like a regular season Tuesday night mentality, right? You're just not competing hard in front of the net for those critical battles. And what it does is it means that everybody's going to put a target on you, because now suddenly the Oilers are beatable. You just have to, go and make a hard time in front of their own net. You'll get the points, get the goals. So you're making your own problems. They're going to get worse and worse unless they start defending in front of their own goal.
Exactly. I mean, if you go out there and you break a hand or two, right, people are going to come in, and I mean, I'm exaggerating the point here, but if you make life difficult for these players day in and day out, you're going to build that reputation. And right now, their reputation, I mean, the New Jersey Devils, right? I can't help but go back to that, where they were saying that this was such an easy game that they played against us.
How is Rupai Heinz's foot these days, right? Like,
yeah,
there was some damage being done in front of the net in the playoffs last year.
There were.
Legal, illegal, fair, unfair, ethical, unethical. You can get into that whole debate. But that was a situation where it was hard to stand in front of the Oilers net.
Yeah.
So they're capable of it. Why aren't they doing it?
Yeah, they are. They definitely have some good big guys there. I think they need to bring a guy like Chris Chelios or a Scott Stevens or Chris Pronger to teach these guys a few things about the defensive play of back in the day. I know you can't get away with that stuff these days, but
I mean, they don't have a Chris Chelios or a Marks or a Chris Pronger, but they have a Mark Stewart who is similar mold in his own zone. He can't get through them.
He's not doing it. We're not seeing it right now. Where's the Mark Stewart kind of play on the Edmonton Oilers right now? Who's doing it?
They're just doing what Paul Coffey told them. Just
make plays.
Find the puck in your own net and skate it out.
Yeah.
Make some plays. Well, what can you explain to me? Maybe you can get Paul on the line here. What kind of play was that by Bouchard there? What was the play he was making there?
He was looking to skate it up the ice the other way. He's waiting for the breakout off of.
He was anticipating the puck to hit the goalie and come off to the side, so he has a clear path. He pass it off to McDavid on a breakaway or something. I don't know, but anticipation. Wayne Gretzky. You can't anticipate like good old Gretz where the puck's going to be.
So I think we could probably turn the page on this. We've really beaten down the Oilers' defensive.
Beaten down on Bouchard good here.
So I got a couple questions for you guys as we reluctantly move along. Lineups. So there's a couple positives that I found. Roslovic, I think, is developing some great chemistry with Podkolzin and Draisaitl.
Yeah.
And the power play as well. McDavid seems to really like him. Found him a couple of times, 2 goals in 2 games. I'm personally liking the way he's come into his own. I mean, the first few games, their critics were out in full force, knocking on him. I feel like no training camp and not having that opportunity to skate with the team, was very visible. But the last couple of weeks, I feel like he's gotten better and better.
Yep.
And the next question I have for you guys, so what do you guys think about that? And the next thing on the back end, similar observations with Ty Emberson. He started the season absolutely atrocious, horrible, but I think he's had a pretty good last couple of weeks. But it sounds to me like Regula's ready. So what's going to happen there? What's going to happen with Tomasek? And what's going to happen when Hyman's ready?
I'll start with the Roslovic piece. The thing that I really noticed in the last 5 or 6 games is he wants to carry the puck. He'll go at guys when it's 1-on-2 or 1-on-1. He's trying to make moves. He's trying to beat players.
He's not deferring. Yeah.
And as soon as he makes that move, he's not looking to pass. Right? There's a lot of players that you make the play, then you make the pass. He's saying, I'm making the play, and now that I have an opening, I'm going to use that to shoot. And
maybe McDavid can learn a thing or two from that, eh?
Maybe. But it's a player you don't necessarily expect it from, because we didn't know what we were getting necessarily from Roslovic. But if he does that all year, then he's going to end up with 20 goals.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah.
Value for your money, obviously. He's coming in to replace Corey Perry essentially at that $1.5 million. If Perry can score 20 goals and Roslovic scores 20 goals, you solve your problem.
One thing I want to say as well, the knock on him has been defensive play. I haven't been too unhappy with his defense. I mean, he's definitely not a Selke candidate, but I don't see him as a liability defensively, at least not yet. Right?
Yeah,
no, the puck's been in the offensive zone. So with him, like usually on the ice, I don't know what the numbers are. I haven't looked at it, but I feel
he forechecks well, he back checks hard.
Right.
So far, I mean, I'm liking what I'm seeing, right?
Yeah, and you mentioned some people are critical of him. Who would be critical of the guy like 2 games in, and he didn't even have a training camp? But he's really given McDavid and Draisaitl like another shooter that shoots the puck, and that's what we kind of sort of had with Hyman. And since he's been injured, that's been missing with the rookies coming in. This guy comes in. Mangiapane does that too. Let's not forget he's got like 5 goals now, right? 5 or 6 goals. He's doing his bit, but this guy is a shooter. You give him a clear opportunity, he's not going to defer to pass, and he shoots. And I love that. I think more of these guys need to learn, to do that. But to your point, Aleem, now that Hyman's coming back, who's going to leave? I'm gonna ask Brendan this. Like, what do you think is going to happen in the roster here?
I think Tomasek's going to have a hard time getting in based on where he's been the last few games. I think that players that can be waved down are going to be. So who's that include?
Tomasek.
Isaac Howard probably gets sent down, right? Probably. Or Savoy. He's been a little bit better, I think, maybe. But
Savoy's got to clear waivers.
Okay,
Savoy's not.
And he'll just be in
the Tomasek doesn't.
Yeah. So anybody that you can send down without losing them to the waiver wire is probably who they're going to start by sending down.
I also think they're probably going to trade a couple of contracts, and I think the obvious ones that would give you a little bit of a cap space would be the likes of Ty Emberson. He's at 1.3 million, I think, something around those numbers. Janmark. Janmark. They've talked about Troy Stetcher. I really hope they keep him. He's only getting $775. He's not like, but you got to do what you got to do. So a few of these players might be traded, and I think Janmark, Emberson, definitely Emberson. He's a 2-point-something, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Is Lazar on a 2-way contract? Like you send him down in the minors, he gets.
I'm not sure, but he's only making 7-something, so I'm assuming he's going to be. You can send him down, right?
Yeah.
Probably gonna have to do the waivers though. Emberson, though, I disagree with you on that. I think Emerson's 26 years old. Stetcher's 31 years old. Especially if we're going to be political for a minute. The Oilers' recent and not so recent history of letting guys that they've, the younger guys kind of slip through their fingers. I think because of that, they're probably going to hang on to Emberson. Emberson also, relatively young. Chard relatively young still too. Defensemen typically don't come into their age or their own until like 28, 29. Both those guys are still a few years away from that. I do think though that it's a nice problem to have, but I do think Regula is probably going to draw in. probably tonight or on the weekend at some point. You shouldn't be losing your spots due to an injury. But there's this whole thing, veteran versus rookie as well, right? Noah Felp is a guy that's come in and out of the lineup, and he's one of the obvious other choices as an odd man out. If they don't move Janmark, then are they going to move Felp, right? Or maybe Lazar, right?
Well, I don't think just sending players down would be enough to give them the cap relief to bring in Regula and Hyman, right? Because combined there you have about $6 million. So by way of obviously sending some players back would alleviate some of that, but you have to make some trades, I think. I don't know who you're going to keep.
Well, what are we at? Like, how do we bring Hyman back? Do we need to get rid of 2 or 3 players to get Hyman back?
Yeah, we have to make the cap space for him, right? Right now we don't have it.
So, I mean, is it going to be Noah Felp? Is it going to be Isaac Howard? And is it going to be David Tomasek? And is it going to be Troy Stetcher?
Felp, they're not going to send down because if he goes down the waiver wire, he's gone.
Someone's going to pick him up for sure. But
no.
It almost feels like they're
not going to do that. There's
right?
no way
why is he in and out of the lineup? Arguably, he's been one of our best players, I would say.
Yeah, I wish I had the answers. I mean, some of the players are getting time, but Phelps been very effective. He's been physical. It's what the team's been missing is when he's in, he's actually using his size and he's running into the goal. And for whatever reason, he's sitting. But
I'm gonna tune into my inner Brendan with Brendan sitting right there. I'm gonna say that it comes down to coaches and GMs as well, right? And Janmark has proven to be a Chris Knobloch favorite, and usually when things are not going your way, coaches, especially coaches that have developed a history with the team, they tend to go back to their veterans mainly because they know what they're going to get, right? And so, I mean, I don't know. Will they move Janmark without giving him another shot? I don't know about that, right?
I think if they're playing it smart, the way that Vegas or Tampa would, it's right about time for an Ekholm injury for the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's another possibility.
Or by the looks of it, a Bouchard injury for the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, that'd be great. That relief. You have some cap space to bring somebody else in. No, but I know honestly,
bring in 2 people. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that what they're doing is, I mean, evident from this year's moves is that they're trying to get a little bit younger in terms of allowing the younger players to play and kind of get the experience in Howard and Regula and so on. I think the older players or some of the players that have some value that may be traded, I'd hate to say it, but I think Kulak has already indicated he wants to test free agency at the end of this year. He may be a candidate. There's $2.7 million right there, right?
That's good armchair general managing, right? That seems like the player that's going to get you the most cap space, who's probably got some value around the league. And there's definitely some teams out there that could use an extra, fifth defenseman, fourth defenseman, depending on what their lineup looks like. It doesn't cost a lot. He's cheap enough to bring on, but he's expensive enough that you can get some cap savings by moving out. It'd be a shame if they let him go, but that seems like a pretty obvious target.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, It depends on what you're thinking, though. If you're thinking that you're going to be all in, which you better be with McDavid and Draisaitl, are you going to make that move? Because what are you going to replace him with?
Well, Regula is the only guy I know.
Yes, but you've got Kulak, who basically becomes a top 4D man playing 5th or 6th minutes in the playoffs, and he's had a history of that for like the last 5 or 6 years, right?
Something's got to give, right? You got $775,000 defenders in Troy Stetcher and Regula, and you've got a $2.7 million guy, and you got a $5.5 million guy sitting on the sidelines on Hyman, who's ready to come back. What do you do, right?
Well, Regula's not going anywhere.
Nope.
It's safe to say.
Yeah.
I don't think Savoy's going to go anywhere. So I think it comes down to Tomasek, Howard, Stetcher, and it's going to be a toss-up between Stetcher and Emberson. I think that, I know I just finished saying you want to value your youth, but I think if it's between Kulak and Emberson, bye-bye tie, right?
Yeah, I mean, they committed to Emberson, right? He still signed 2 more years after this year. Kulak's contract's coming to an end.
I think Emberson's up after this year.
No,
they signed him for 2 years, didn't they?
He signed for 2 more. Yeah, he's still with us for a couple more years.
Really?
Oh yeah. He's still with us. I haven't double checked,
I
but
don't
I'll
think so.
check it
I
right
thought
now
it
for
was
you.
a 2-year deal.
Maybe I'm wrong. Hold on. Kulak is done, and Ty Emberson. Where is it?
I'm checking it out.
Kulak's really smart to go the free agency route if he can get there, because there's
Yeah.
a lot on the market this off season, and everyone's going to have tons of cap space to spend. So he's going to get paid if he can make it to July 1st.
We have Emberson next year as well, and then he's a free agent. So we have him this one next year, and then he's a free agent. But I mean, being signed also creates some value too, right? Nobody would want somebody like a Kulak contract expiring and at the end of the year, kind of losing him. So we would
I
be
think
a
it depends. I think it depends. I mean, I don't see them parting ways with Kulak unless they think that they're not going to win the cup this year. Unless they don't think they're going to go deep, they're not parting ways with Kulak. I think it's on those guys. I mean, whatever we just mentioned. I could be wrong. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I like Kulak. I'd hate to see him go, and I like the younger players. I want them to kind of like develop.
You need to keep and hang on to guys that can elevate when the postseason arrives.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Guys unlike Darnell Nurse.
No, but I know we're saying all these things. I love these guys too. I don't want to see any of these guys go. But the question is, who goes? I mean,
well, that was my question. So who goes?
Kapanen is injured, so he's not. I mean, even if he was good, he's at 1.3. Janmark and Kapanen collectively is 2.7. That's still not
I'm
enough.
not even sure they're going to want to get rid of Kapanen, because when he was healthy, he was like the only guy that was forechecking and hitting. He got out of the lineup because he threw a hit, right?
Yeah. So maybe we can trade a Trent Frederick and his 8-year contract.
Doesn't that come with a full no movement, probably?
Oh man, dude, he looks like
you could trade Jack Roslovic for about 3 more days before he has his no movement clause.
Yeah. Well, there were rumors when Roslovic signed that it is kind of like a sign and trade eventually. So that's the anticipation that there's a good potential that the Oilers just sign him to kind of like, use his value and bring something else in. But right now, I hope as hell they don't, because you don't want to lose that guy right now, right?
I was thinking they might look at trying to extend him the way that he's come in and fit in. It's obviously too early for that.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I can't remember who I was listening to.
Never too early for a 7-year extension in Stan Bowman's office.
What's that?
Yeah.
Never too early for a 7-year extension in Stan Bowman's office.
Yeah, exactly. I can't remember who it was, but they were talking about how Oilers management was actually thrilled that they picked up both Mangiapane and Roslovic, because I think on day one of free agency, plan A was Roslovic, plan B was Mangiapane. And once they signed Mangiapane, once he accepted it, and Roslovic didn't want to come here, they thought it was done, right? But now, I mean, honestly, I know you mentioned Mangiapane's had five goals. I don't feel like that first line's working. I don't feel like McDavid has really found a stride with anybody. And one of the things I think, we talked about this at the start of the season, you guys might remember. We wanted to add an element of skill and an element of sandpaper on each line to be tough to play against. I feel like the only line right now that has that, and it's being effective, is the Draisaitl, Podkolzin, Roslovic line. And I mean, Mangiapane, I mean, he definitely plays bigger than he is, but I think Hyman is sorely missed on that wing. And I feel like he's going to add and create space. Like right now, neither Nuge nor Mangiapane are creating space for McDavid. I'm really excited to see Hyman come back. Again, I want to temper my expectations, because this guy's like hands are probably not going to be there and whatnot. But I feel like his tenaciousness and his feistiness is really going to help create some separation that we really need on that top line.
I agree. We need him back for sure. So side note, like I'm looking at Mangiapane and Roslovic numbers here. Roslovic's doing well. 3 goals, 3 assists. Mangiapane has 5 points, 4 goals, 1 assist. Somebody's got to go down. I mean, the lineups might change. So if it's established already that the second line with Draisaitl, Roslovic, and Pods is working good, then you have to massage something.
You probably put Mangiapane on the third line, and you move Savoy down, and you get rid of Howard, and hopefully you keep Phelps. But who else is on the fourth line?
Oh,
Who's on there
Henry?
right now?
Would
Right
it
now,
be,
it's
sorry, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say the fourth line would consist of Henrique is moving up and down on the third and the fourth line.
Henrique is the guy that we're missing right now, right?
Yeah.
Like right now we've got on the third line is Henrique, $3.8 million Frederick, and Savoy, right?
And
I think
Savoy.
they're probably going to put Mangiapane on that third line. Savoy's
Yeah.
going to move down. The fourth line has had Phelp, Howard, and
Henry.
who's
Well, it
on
was
there?
Lazar, yeah.
Lazar. So I
Yeah.
think Lazar draws out, Savoy drops to the fourth line, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Listen, it's a good thing. We do have some in spite of what.
But do you think though the
penalty
penalty kill and all that, like that's the thing with Janmark, right? He was part of the top penalty killing tandem that we had in the history of hockey in the 2024 playoffs, right? Is he coming back, or you think he's out? You think he's done? You think he's played his last game as an Oiler?
I hope not, because he shows up in the playoffs and he is very, very good at the penalty kill. If we lose a guy like Janmark, who steps in? Right.
Well, I mean, we have some tough decisions to make. We're going to have to make some. Out of everybody that you listed, like we were talking about Tomasek, we're talking about Lazar, we're talking about Ike Howard, we're talking about Janmark, and we're talking about Emberson and Stetcher and Kulak, right? So out of those guys, like have you got the thing up on the screen? How much cap space do we need to clear? We need to clear about 5.5, call it $7 million, right?
Right.
How are we going to clear $7 million?
This is why I brought up guys that have a little bit of a higher cap hit, like in Kulak, and I'm talking about.
So would you rather get rid of Kulak or Janmark?
But Janmark's half of Kulak's hit. I think they both have to go. If you want to clear up the space, $5 million is right there between Kulak and Janmark. You have to lose both of them to make that cap space, right? Janmark's at 1.3 and Kulak's at 2.7. That's your $5 million right there. It sucks, but I mean, we've watched other teams kind of lose great players because they have too many good players, like a Tampa. Yeah, I mean, how many good players did they lose over the years, right? Because of the cap crunch, and that's happening to the Oilers now. Not that everybody's phenomenal, but I don't think they want to lose the young guys. The Phelps are going to stay. Savoy's going to stay. Regal is going to stay. It has to be some of the older players that have got to go, even though we need them. They're good, but this is the movement I think that you've been dreaming of for quite some time, Aline. You've been very vocal about letting these young guys play, and I think the time's right.
Or are they going to let the young guys play? Because I don't really see the young guys playing. They get put on the bench.
Hey, at least they're on the team. That's a start.
Yeah. What about you, Brendan?
I think that we're going to have to see what Stan Bowman does. It's probably going to be his biggest test so far after McDavid solved his biggest test for him. This is something that Stan's going to have to figure out on his own. And this is about one of those asset management conversations you always have. Like, why did we let that guy go? Why couldn't we manage the assets? Why are we giving away players? This is something that's going to solve a problem today, whatever happens, but there'll probably be some regrets later on down the road about how it was handled, because you definitely need to get Zach back in the lineup, but there's going to be some pain to do it. And some good players that the fans like are probably going to come out.
Yeah. Yeah. And people aren't going to be happy over the next little while, I think.
You know what? That was too easy. That was a political answer. I'm going to put you both on the spot. You both are picking two guys. One forward, one defenseman. Ahmed, you're first.
One forward, one defenseman. I think I've kind of played my card. If you want an immediate relief, it's got to be Kulak, and it's got to be Janmark as a forward. I would say Emberson also has to go, but I like him. He's young. I want him to stay, but you need $5 million.
So Kulak and Janmark are two vets. Okay, Brendan.
I think Emberson's going to go out of that group. I think they unfortunately have like a Josh Brown contract somewhere buried there that they'll have to resurrect at a cheaper price point. Like that was the decision that got made. That's going to force at least one defenseman out. And yeah, realistically, I see Yanmark going, but since he's already been sacrificed here on Ahmed's account, I'll have to say that I'll probably waive Lazar, and that'll save them another, $750K. See if somebody picks him up. That'll save them some salary if they do.
I know who William's going to say, but we'll let him tell us who he thinks.
Honestly, I think what's going to happen is they're probably going to have to send. I think Howard's gone, and I think Tomasek's probably going to draw out because they don't want to lose
That's
some of these guys.
One forward, one defenseman. So you got to stick to your rules here.
Yeah, but I didn't say I'm picking one forward, one defenseman. I'm not done yet.
Oh.
I'm saying those guys are probably going to draw out from the forwards, and then they're probably going to look at moving Stetcher. That's what I think is going to happen. I think they move Stetcher. I think they try to find a home for him. Otherwise, they're going to have to waive him, right?
Yeah, I mean, poor Troy. I like him. He's the perfect 6'7" defender in my opinion, and he's only making $775. But
yeah, but I mean,
what's that going to do?
Emerson's a better player. Regula's a better player.
I agree.
We gotta not be emotional, right, Brendan? We gotta make the tough calls.
That's right. You get paid to be emotionless calculators that protect the business and don't worry about the people.
Oh, I'm being emotionless. I don't want to see any of these guys go. I'm just saying, in terms of dollars and cents, $775 is not really going to help you, right?
Right.
2.7 will.
You need a bigger ticket. So
yeah.
No easy answer.
Those three guys that I just mentioned, though, that'll get us close, right?
Not really. No, we're still a couple of $1 million short because you mentioned Tomasek, right? And if Tomasek is sent down, you're clearing $1.2 million. With Stetcher at 787. So, and your third guy was Howard, right? He's 950. Yeah. So you're still about $2 million, more than $2 million shy of getting Hyman back, right?
Well, there's only about 6 players in the whole roster that don't have a no movement clause, so your options are pretty limited.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was up to me, I would have got rid of Trent Frederick right after he came, but it's not up to me, unfortunately.
Yeah, that deal's not working out already. 15 games in, it's not working out already.
15 plus whatever we saw.
Well, he's not being critical, right? I wish he was at least hitting. He's going to be in the third, fourth lines for the rest of the time he's in Edmonton.
I just thought of something, and I really want to know what happened with Corey Perry. But I guess Bowman wasn't there when he was. But this would have been a great story, right? Because all I ever saw from Frederick was when he beat the crap out of Corey Perry earlier last year, right? And was that the reason that we got him? Because
made an impression.
Because it seems like that's the only reason we have him, right? It just his claim to fame is he beat the crap out of Corey Perry.
We just haven't played LA enough times this year. It'll solve itself.
Yeah.
I mean, I did see a little bit out of Frederick. I think it was the Vancouver game. I liked what I saw.
Yeah. But
the last couple of games, I mean, he's reverted back. And honestly, people are talking about Tomasek's foot speed. I'm questioning Frederick's foot speed. I don't know if he's got it to keep up in this league at 27. Everyone was saying he's skating is one of his strong suits. I haven't seen it. He's always looking like he's a step and a half behind.
It's the high ankle sprain that he's come out and said it's still not 100%, and everybody knows that takes a really long time to heal. That's definitely impacted him, which really, really scares me about the state of.
He should move in with Leon Draisaitl then, because didn't he almost the next year when he came out? When did that happen? So last year. When was that? 2020. He had the high ankle sprain in 22, the year that we.
Years ago, more than 2 years ago. Yeah. It was skating on one leg.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe they're different types of players. Can't really compare them.
I'm looking at the clock here, and we're coming up on the 1 hour mark, so I think it's probably time to head into last comments.
All right.
Fire away. Who's getting traded? I guess we played that card. We know who's going to get traded. They're playing.
Let's talk quickly about tonight's game. Jake Ottinger's not going to be in net, so it's going to be Casey DeSmith versus Stuart Skinner. Can we pull it off tonight? Congratulations to Ottinger, by the way. On I think was it his first child? I don't know, but anyways, he's a father. So
not sure, but yeah. I don't know if it's a backup goalie. We all know how that's going to pan out against the Oilers. Probably a shutout for D. Smith because every backup in the league is like the world's greatest goalie.
We're trying to say against us, yeah.
I think there's going to be a couple of players for Dallas that are getting for Darnell Nurse now that the consequences of taking a run at him aren't so high after last year's bad blood. So I think that Edmonton's struggles on the road continues. This looks like a Dallas overtime win to me.
Dallas overtime win. I think we pull it off 3-1, 4-2, something like that.
All right.
Sounds good. Let's leave it at
Okay,
that.
guys, we'll tune in next week. Good talking to you guys. Enjoy the rest of the week and go Oilers.